God, Tim Curry is a fucking treasure.
He is. Especially just Wild Thornberry in general.
Oh,
Nigel.
Damn it, I already had eggs, so I don't have to do that cutscene. Damn, it was funny, too. So the context of the cutscene is you walk on Russell holding the Yum Yum market manager up in the air by one hand because he was called dumb. And he had to, like, talk Russell down to, like, putting the manager down.
Oh.
And then, you explain what your plan is, and, the manager... Oh, wait, is that a Oh, wait, no, that's a future mission. Never mind. It's been a while since I played this. Here. Here. You're rich.
That's mine.
Oh, shit. Oh, god damn it. Now I got the cops after me.
Why did you die right in front of the bike?
Yeah,
was that a cop or a prep?
No, that was a mailman.
What?
Cop.
Mine now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, damn.
Help.
He's really going
Happy,
into
what
it.
should I do?
Well, the best advice that I can give when it comes to like encounters with the officer is comply as much as possible. And if you have an issue with how he treats you, get a badge number and file a complaint to report. But I don't think that applies here.
Okay.
I mean, he's driving a motorcycle through like pedestrian paths and people's lawns.
Okay, definitely get a badge number and report him then, and run like hell because he is being crazy.
I feel like the whole department needs reporting at this point.
They do.
I'm not sure who you'd report them to, but
There
they
is
need to be
no
reported
chief
to
of
someone.
police in this game. It's just the same 4 cops.
Well, even then, if it's the whole department, the chief's probably complicit, if not actively participating. So you probably have to take them to the state at that point.
Yeah, check out this jump.
I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, Happy. Is there any authority between the state level and the individual city?
There are like different levels of jurisdiction. Like state troopers will like go after. Will necessarily have a wider range of areas where they can enforce like state laws.
Right. If this is just the Bullhorn or whatever the town is called.
Bullworth.
Bullworth.
If it was a problem with the town, then yeah, the next level up would most likely be like a state troopers.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's like a county level you can report to or something. But I'm guessing not.
Well,
maybe it's
county might be like similar to state law because like the jurisdiction that I'm in, it is like St. Louis County, so like county and city could be like interchangeable in this case.
Okay. So you would go to the attorney general then.
Take them. Smashing. Now tell me, Hopkins.
Smashing.
Is it true you said I was inbred? No, because first cousins is legal, my friend. Legal. Yeah, okay.
What?
Yeah, and just because my elder brother doesn't have a chin and ended up in a lunatic asylum, doesn't mean anything. Whatever, Tad. Your family is your business.
Don't lie, Jimmy. You said Tad was probably a hermaphrodite with that much inbreeding.
A hermaphro what?
Don't act dumb. You said his mom was
Those
also
two are
legally his
not
aunt, so that he probably
necessarily
had toes.
I don't.
like
Hermaphrodite
the
have
same.
nothing to do with that. Like, yeah.
That's an
Tad, you're
intersex
not gonna
condition,
take that
first of
kind of
all.
crap from this
Yeah.
scumbag, are you?
You've been rude about mommy. Let's get this, Papa.
Okay, Onyx,
Wow,
you
he is
said
really dedicated to the bit.
Onyx, you said you hate preps, right?
Yes.
So should I beat the shit out of him?
Yes.
Alright,
Glorious.
as you wish.
Do it for our queen.
Oh, he'll damage your clothes, alright. Tear them off and humiliate them. Actually, no, you might be able to be sued for that, but...
Can't sue me if they're dead.
True. Someone might go after you for murder at that point, but... That's the problem, is they're rich, meaning the authorities care a lot more about them.
This dude's trying to fight me through the fucking fence.
Let's not pretend we live in a perfect meritocracy right now, much as we should. That's kind of why I hate preps. It's just because they subvert the fucking values.
You know, how you said that, like, I could tell you're getting kind of pissed. And right when you're saying that, Jimmy was, like, going ham harder and harder. It was, like, perfect timing.
And unfortunately, you can't grapple this guy. He blocks
that's
every... Yeah.
That's dumb.
Here, okay, this one's for you, Onyx.
Yeah!
Oh no, his poor children.
Eggs are available in your room.
Yep. Eggs will now spawn in my dorm room for some reason.
Okay. That makes sense. I think they go bad after a certain point, but alright.
Yeah,
Shame you didn't actually get to...
Yeah, there's a reason you're supposed to keep them in your fridge.
Just
Yeah,
bury
it's a
them
good
in
thing you... It's too bad you didn't get to actually egg the principal's house. I'm assuming that's part of him being the original antagonist getting cut too.
Can't actually remember why it was cut.
I thought I figured it would be just for time.
Just bury the eggs, you'll get a century egg.
I will say, I hate how some of these are like weirdly narrow one-lane roads. Even though they're probably not supposed to be.
Right. Okay.
Hey, Happy, question.
Yeah.
Skip this
At a
cutscene.
police academy, would the dormitories or barracks or whatever be separated by sex?
Yes, they would.
Okay.
I would assume so. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Remember,
just wondering, because I'm
Sorry.
wondering for my novel, because I want to take inspiration from, like, police academies and boot camps and such.
Well, I've never been to a police academy or a boot camp, but I do know that police academies will have separate dorms.
Right, I'm just wondering, because, like, for basic training, I can just look up the Army's videos or whatever. Why do you have to walk into the window to activate it? That's weird.
it's a glitch.
This game's got a lot of those.
Yeah, it does.
Well, it is a
but it's
motor
still
game,
fun.
too. So.
Feels like an Obsidian game where, like, the game is really good and the story is awesome, but, like, the game itself
Shit.
keeps falling apart. Like
That's
Fallout New
bullshit.
Vegas.
How did he see me? Like,
It's probably just based on range without factoring the walls in.
Oh fuck!
Oh, no.
I dropped down right
Oh, no.
in front of another one.
Ah!
Do not be an evildoer.
Ah!
Ooh, dodgeball game. I do like dodgeball.
Yeah.
I wish it was a bigger sport, IRL. There was a dodgeball league, but it fell apart due to mismanagement.
oh.
Down with the system.
Fight the man!
Burn it! Burn it the fuck down! I love you taking time.
Tear apart the establishment! Board by board! I have very strong political convictions.
Fuck Whitey.
Not like that.
I mean, that's not necessarily a political conviction. It depends on whether or not your political views are racially motivated.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
all those-
addressing classism would actually be more productive if we're gonna do one thing in isolation.
That's pretty much where it stems from, anyway. As for what you said, Trigger,
I think
Yeah, like
classism is the operative element at this point because, like, yeah, you still have people being disproportionately affected by race, but they also tend to be poor because society never stopped being classist, even
that's
if
what I
we
try to
fix the
tell.
racist
That's what
clause.
I try to tell people, and they just don't listen. Especially my mom.
Ooh.
That's what you
Wow.
tell who?
My mom and like other people. Like,
Oh,
it
other
stems from
people. I
class,
didn't hear what you
race.
said. It kind of sounded like you said colored people, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
Well, what I was trying to say is that's what I try to tell people, and like it's more of the class, and the race happens to be a byproduct of the class fucking them over. That's how I describe it.
Exactly.
What I was gonna say. Oh yeah,
Like, there's a case I heard about once. I forget what city it was, but they gave out free glasses to the kids that needed them.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
the grades at the school actually started going up.
Oh.
And it just so happened this was a black majority district.
Right.
So even though people are tying this just to things like racism and such, even then, addressing something like glasses, because these kids couldn't afford the healthcare to get glasses, was improving the system. The problem is the system at this point.
Right.
I think making proper
Well, this-
reforms towards things like mass transit and affordable healthcare and things like that
Well, this was
would be way more helpful than anything else at this point. Not that there aren't other things that could be done.
a question. The like the glasses that were like donated to this school. This was a
Inner city
was this
school.
like what's that?
This was an inner city school.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it wasn't inner city school, but was it like a but was this like a charity thing, or was it something that was like handled by the city itself?
I actually don't know.
Yeah, because the reason I ask is because like I'm like very because
Skeptical?
I'm well, not skeptical. Like I suppose hesitant would be a better word. Like hesitant to like use, because if it was like a government project, I'm generally like skeptical or against like using like the government to solve problems. Because like if it was like a charity thing, that'd be different, because that's a case of like at the actual community like taking the time to do something productive. And I think that's like infinitely more valuable and more effective in the long run than spending taxpayers' dollars handling that kind of thing.
So my thought process is, I agree that is more helpful. The problem is you can't expect that to happen as a given. Advancing communities, I think, is part of the purpose of a state. I agree the government is not very good at it.
I don't agree that you should use like government to do it, or at the very, I don't think you should use government to do it, because this is possibly a slippery slope fallacy, but I am terrified to the point of paranoia of the idea of becoming reliant on government. And because if you're reliant on government, then your freedom becomes that much closer to being
Well, that's why I also
jeopardized.
still support the Second Amendment. The only regulations I'm in favor of are things like storage regulations and better licensing. And not selling guns at gun shows just to close that loophole, that kind of thing.
not a loophole.
But otherwise, you should...
Not a loophole. That's bullshit.
Anyway,
Do not fight me on this. You will lose. That is not a loophole. I guarantee you that is not a loophole. That
Whatever
is
it
a
is.
Let's not get too carried away. Like you guys can still discuss it, but let's not get too here, just in case.
I don't want to get sidetracked. Whatever it is, I think you should be able to own whatever firearm you want. I just think actually getting your hands on it should require a background check, and I think that should be redone periodically because people change over time. And I think it should be stored a certain way so that kids or mentally ill people can't get their hands on it. Stuff like that. I sort of see it as equivalent, constitutionally speaking, to time, place, and manner regulations on protests, where that is technically constitutionally legal. It's not the actual speech being regulated, it's peripheral stuff to it. For instance, you might be stopped from doing a rally right on the highway, for instance.
Right. Okay. Well,
Or you have to get a permit. I'm thinking
I'm
that's sort of where I
I'm-
see licenses and such.
Yeah, I'm kind of like 50-50 when it comes to like background checks and the like regulation of where guns need to be stored, because with regard to with regard to like regular background checks, I do understand like the idea, but you generally don't want to have like a reputable or not reputable what's the word
Scrupulous?
I want to say like what I was going to say was you wouldn't want a reputable establishment giving a gun to someone who probably shouldn't have it, because there are people who just shouldn't have guns, and I'm not just talking
Right.
about criminals, I'm talking about stupid people.
Stupid people, people with severe mental illness, like schizophrenia.
Yeah, when I say like a reputable source, I mean like someone who has a license and who is like prepared to like earn a living by selling and manufacturing guns.
Right.
So I'm not necessarily against like background checks per se. Yeah, on principle, but the thing is like whether and this is one of the reasons why I said don't challenge me on the whole gun show thing, because I actually like studied this in college, and one of the things I found in my research was that the majority of criminals tend to get their guns on like the black market or elite or buying them off the street.
This I agree with. My focus with like gun storage, for instance, is my understanding is it's very common for kids that do shootings to steal guns from their parents or someone close to them. So that was my logic on counteracting that one.
Okay.
And then
Sorry. Go ahead.
Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's at least my understanding of the situation.
Well, the thing with like the regulation question is like it seems like you're, there's like quite a lot to unpack there, but I think I should start like with why I'm like because I'm 50-50 on the storage issue as well, because I do think that it's like generally a good idea to like have like a place in the house that only you can get to. That's actually one of the reasons why a lot of people who own guns own safes. My dad has like 4 safes in the house. Like one of them is dedicated to ammo, and we have the rest are like a bunch of guns, because my dad is like really interested in guns. But like the problem with storage is like if your gun is stored in like if your gun is stored in a
hard to get placed, then it's hard to get to in a break-in.
Exactly. Yes.
I understand that concern, and it's something I'm kind of iffy on, I'll admit. I do have to wonder how much violence is caused by allowing that, as opposed to allowing guns to be left stored unguarded, essentially.
Well, the thing about
I have to wonder what mitigates more damage. I don't have data on hand about that.
Well, the thing that you need to understand about a gun is that it is necessarily a tool. It is something that it is an inanimate object that can't do anything unless someone else like gets their hands on it.
I agree with this.
Yeah, so I would argue that which is why I would argue that when it comes to guns, the problem tends to be more a case of the person wielding it as opposed to the tool itself.
This I actually agree with. I think something like public health care for mental health too would actually reduce crimes related to that, just because you would have less mentally ill people in general, meaning less mentally ill people getting access to firearms by extension. Because all these issues interact with each other.
And the
on the
broader
one hand makes problems hard to untangle, but the plus side is one solution can have cascading effects.
Right, and the reason I'm like flip flopping on this so much or discussing it so much is that my dad does have like a bunch of guns, but he doesn't store all of them in a safe. Some of them he'll like store in a closet. He also has like a hiding place for one gun that I will not reveal because I'm paranoid that way. But it is a location that is relatively easy to get to.
Right. I think something like that should maybe require like a higher level of permit, and it can only be one. Something that where like you can still have it, but I think there should be some kind of extra security around that to be safe then.
Okay, well a permit is definitely like a solution, but it's like yet another example of like, government regulation, which I'm generally skeptical towards. But the reason I cite that specific example, my dad has a gun hidden in a place that he can get to quickly, and it's a place that like most of my other siblings can get to pretty easily as well. I mean, clearly everyone in the house like knows where this weapon is, and they can get to it if they want to. But the thing with my dad is he brought us up to like respect guns. Like he practically feed it into us that all the rules of the range, all the rules of guns. He would
exactly
like he would force us to clean them. He would school us on how to shoot them and what the rules are when going to the range, and like how all guns always need to be like pointed down range when they are like outside of their cases and whatnot. So like the bottom line is like he didn't just teach us how to use guns. He taught us to like respect firearms and what you can accomplish with them.
That is kind of an unfortunate thing about it, is you have one person being an idiot and it spoils it for everyone. Or it makes a problem for everyone at least.
Absolutely.
I agree with you there, and I think it sucks. At the same time, I do think the system needs to account for those edge cases.
Yeah, and I do, and I think that's perfectly fair to point out. But my whole point of this like preamble is like the solution seems to be less about like regulating guns per se, and more about like trying to help people, as like corny and blasé as that sounds.
That would also go a great distance. I would like to do a little bit of both, because I don't think regulation would hurt to a point. Obviously, like I said, I'm very particular about what kind I support. Like bump stock bans, dumb. Magazine bans, dumb. Body armor bans or whatever, also dumb.
Okay, the body armor bans, that doesn't make any sense to me, because you are literally banning what protects people from guns. You'd think you would want more of that.
No, we
exactly.
Really did.
That's.
But look,
I think that one's especially stupid.
Yeah, and with bump stocks, I'm highly skeptical on whether or not that would actually do anything, because the whole reason why bump stocks were banned is because
I'm just pointing out laws that have been made, not good ideas. And that's another thing, is I think a lot of people who want that legislation also don't know enough about firearms to actually write it effectively.
That is definitely
like a lot of them want to ban like the big scary looking ARs when it's actually a handgun is probably more dangerous because you can conceal it easily.
My aunt has 4 thumbs.
Really?
Right.
Well, I'm not marrying him now.
Sorry. I think we're talking over the whole cousin cutscene.
I was reading the subtitles, and this nasty bitch said she got with like brothers and shit before the law was made illegal. For, like,
oh God!
Oh jeez, yeah, we definitely went over that. Sweet home Alabama, indeed.